Okay, good afternoon to the Wellcoin Talk community. Today we have an AMA with Fox Finance. Here to speak about the project is Viora. But before we go over to Viora, Fox Finance, this is the V2. It just launched 30 minutes ago. In April, a company transferred to community ownership of the project. So there's NFTs, Fox in Action, Fox Den Radio. We can go into all that shortly. But first, Viora, yeah, if we can just get the core team's background and experience with crypto, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you. Well, most of us have been in crypto since the past year, maybe a little longer. The dude, Dave, has been with the team the longest, to be honest. He set up the Fox Den, which was a community-run hub for sharing ideas and creating new structures and giving the community a voice. I joined shortly after or in the middle of it being set up, and I was doing a lot of statements for Fox Finance. And yeah, I kind of started with Fox Finance, one of my first projects actually to invest in, and I did my research, and it really spoke to me. After that, James was also in the Fox Finance. Well, he joined the group and at a later stage and became the financial manager. So was looking into how the finances work and how we can make everything sustainable, how we can work with expenses and such. Daniel joined in the summer because actually that was a very funny story. I was on Twitter and he said, "Yeah, you should come and look at our Facebook page." And I came and looked, and he ran it really well. And at the time, the Facebook page that we had was set up by a community member, but it wasn't being maintained very nicely. So we officially adopted his Facebook page into the socials that we officially accepted, and that's when he joined the team, came up with good ideas, and really created his own spot in the team. And then there's Henry. Henry joined last, but he's our tech guy. He's been working in tech with technology, setting up systems for as his career. So when he joined, he just naturally fit in with the other four on the team, and we've basically been sticking together and thinking of ideas and ways to make the project successful and grow.
Okay, awesome. You launched in March last year, so you've been around on the BSC for a very long
Yeah.
time. Maybe just go over that with investors, what's been happening for the first year.
Yeah, so the project was launched by the original founder, Wojtek Lizak, most people knew him as. And he wanted to create a token that wouldn't rug pull because he had been in a lot of projects and he did love the blockchain technology. And as such, he wanted to create a token that was secure. On top of that, he also wanted to do something for the environment. So he wanted to do donations and activities that support the awareness of the environment. So in the beginning, there was a lot of Fox in Action, we call them. And those Fox in Actions are basically the community going out, and there has been a Fox in Action for planting trees, for cleaning up the neighborhood. There was one for taking pictures of animals, preferably at the zoo. That was in the middle of the Corona time. After that, from the beginning, the plan was to make a marketplace with an auction hall on the BSC so that people would be able to create NFTs, buy NFTs, sell NFTs. And that was launched in May. It took until October for the auction hall to be completed. And in between, we've had a couple of series of NFTs. But the biggest thing that we were actually always dragging with was because we are a legal entity, the laws and regulations. We were situated in or incorporated in the Czech Republic, and they had some very very strict laws regarding crypto. And with this migration, we actually moved to Mongolia, where there are not that many crypto regulations yet. So we are a lot freer to execute our plans to get things going faster. So we actually got the legal transfer 2 weeks ago, where I'm the new owner of the project technically. But we run the project as a team with the five of us, and we always listen to each other's ideas. We always give each other extra feedback on any ideas, but we also support it with why we think it's a good or maybe not a good idea. And then we had the migration.
It said that in April the company transferred to the community ownership. So then, did you all have a discussion together and decide who wanted to join the team and do the migration?
No, actually, we came from the community. So the Fox Den was basically a community hub for people that were interested in helping out in the project. So the five of us ended up joining, and Henry is the exception of the five of us because he was brought in by the old owner, and liked the project, liked the way the dynamics of the team worked, and decided he wanted to stay with us. So aside from him, basically the dude was a community member that wanted to do something and joined. I was a community member that wanted to do something and joined. James was a community member, and Daniel was running an independent Facebook page, so he's also purely community. And because of that, it was transferred to us because we wanted to make the project grow, but we weren't directly connected to the first team. So we were really just from the community, and we ended up becoming a team in the process. We are planning to have 2 more spots on the board that sorry. There will be another 2 spots on the board, which will allow us, which we will have elections for. So there will be 2 chosen representatives from the community that will be added to the team to also think with us, brainstorm with us, and develop the project further.
Great. So the Nft Marketplace last May, I mean, that was probably one of the early ones for the BSC blockchain. What's been happening with the Nft Marketplace since it launched?
Yeah, so the Nft Marketplace, we had the original NFTs on it, and then we started developing the auction hall, and we really launched at an unfortunate time. It was like we launched and we were skyrocketing, and it was like 2 days later, Bitcoin started going down from 60K to 28K, I think it was, or something. So we just caught that wave, and it was just a really unfortunate time for us to have launched the marketplace. Then the summer vacation came, and we worked on several things, but we were also waiting for the auction hall to be launched. That took a long time. And we were looking at ways to create utility for our marketplace. So aside from the NFTs themselves, we were thinking of ways that we could use NFTs in a broader sense. And under the old system, it was going to be tricky. So now, recently, we came up with starting with a game for us to work on the connection between the NFT marketplace and an NFT game, and it's actually live right now. But we had a swap of character, and the character ended up being a bit big, so that's being updated right now. But it's on our website and will be playable again in a couple of hours at most. And it's basically just a Frogger game where you just hop over. But the game will become implementing NFT. So, for instance, your characters you can buy through our NFT marketplace, and you will be able to implement in the game. Some characters can be won in the game, and we will be developing more ways to implement utility NFTs throughout the game. And once we're done with this game, we will move on to another game, which is going to be more complex.
Great. Yeah. So I think in June you were saying the first Fox NFT game will be launched, or it's out now. Yeah, I take it. Is this the one we're talking
Well, Actually, we were planning to launch like at the end of May, but it ended up being a way faster process, and it only took us 2 weeks to get this completed. So the game has been launched, but without the NFT steps. For the NFTs to be implemented, we need to completely redo the marketplace. So we will be working on that in the next few weeks. We don't expect it to take very long, but we have already spoken to our developer, and we need to we want to redo the entire NFT marketplace, the way it looks, the way it feels, the way it interacts. So that will be coming up soon with more information on what it's going to look like and what the possibilities are with it.
And Fox 10 Radio, are you still going to be doing that into the future as well? Whereabouts is it held? Like hosted on Telegram?
Yeah, so Foxden Radio is actually our way to interact with the community and inform the community in a slightly less boring way. Dave, the dude from Abides in Canada, is our host, and we've been looking at what the best platforms are to host it. We've used YouTube, we've used Telegram, we've tried it on Discord, and so far we've found that YouTube might be the best source for that, or we use Telegram, and we will be doing more advertising on this matter in the coming weeks. So basically, for once a Foxden Radio has passed, we will be communicating when the next one will be and where it will be held. And the goal with Foxden Radio right now, it's like we're describing what we're working on. But in the future, we also want to update people on just the crypto scene, what's going on, what's happening. And about earlier, the question about the background, I'm a teacher, and Dave is too. So we really want to educate people. So Foxden Radio, we want to develop into also an informative program where people can learn about crypto, but also learn about the world. And in our roadmap, we have lots of plans in the future as well, as part of our donation process and charity work to do more with also the teaching and with the metaverse.
And then are you planning a staking platform?
Yes, we've actually partnered up with Yummy, and we will be having a staking platform on their swap. Right now, there's a Fox Finance V2 and Yummy swap, and a Yummy Fox Finance V2 swap. Apologies. Need to take a sip of water. And in the future, we will also look into starting a Fox swap. And of course, if we have more partnerships, we will look into more swaps.
Great. And you've got the Fox in Action. You're going to be using that. Have you partnered up with some charities for the future with the project?
Yeah, it's been tricky. That's what we've been trying to do so far, like getting partnerships with charities, but most of them don't accept crypto and are very wary of crypto. So we're looking into partnerships and first make some donations, and then once we've set out our reputation, we want people to see that we want to partner up and have other options as well, aside from just donating. Maybe also having like people help out, creating volunteers that are paid by us instead of the shelters and such.
Great. And are you doing an NFT series, as you say, in the future? Have you got a graphic designer that's working on a series for the Fox Finance project?
Yeah, so like I said, the NFT series are all going to be, we do want them utility bound with a special set of NFTs that are going to be collector's items. But also those will be used in a game later on. So we want to have a card game in the future, and those collectibles will be part of the card game. So all of the NFTs that we're getting made are going to be part of a game, of one game or another. I earlier showed a picture of the characters in the game. I'll post it one more time. Oh, 1 second. And
Main chat's
these,
locked,
yeah,
but
yeah.
if you post it in the
Oh,
shared chat, I can send that over to the main chat for investors. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, these are the characters. The game itself is very Minecraft-ish, and we chose a simple game to start with, so that we didn't have to worry about too many technical aspects and can get the information that we want out of it as well. And we thought it was really fun to have like different characters, and these like my avatar is the nine-tailed fox, so of course we had to have a nine-tailed fox character in there.
And then it's a Frogger type game where you're trying to get across the road, is it? And is there a
Yeah.
P2E aspect to the game?
Sorry again.
The aspect to the game, play to earn.
No. So right now it's just earning the NFT. So we don't have any tokens that can be had in the game. In the future, we might want to implement it, but right now we wanted to have utility for tokens. So utility for our NFTs. So
You can get
the
NFTs in the game as well, though, you were saying,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's sometimes people send something and then I get distracted. Apologies for that. So basically, we will have right now we have a plan for 4 tiers of NFTs. The first one is the character NFTs. Those have been made already. Those are the ones that are in the picture. The next series after that is going to be achievement NFTs, which people can get once they reach a certain level. So once they get to level to score 100, for instance, they get an NFT saying, "Hey, you won, you achieved a 100 score." But the point with those NFTs, even though they might seem like they're not really worth a lot, is that the next tier is going to be utility NFTs. So with the utility NFTs, we want to have certain NFTs that you can purchase on the marketplace so that you can skip forward from the score. So you basically get to start at a previous safe score, so you can continue on onward. And there are a couple of things that are well, in my opinion, funny to see in the game, and there will be achievements connected to those as well. So it's really like the PlayStation and Xbox, where when you do certain things, and sometimes there are really things that you shouldn't be doing, you can get an NFT for it, and how we try to make people happy. Um, and the higher you get, the more unique the NFTs can get.
Great. And how many levels are there in the game? Is there quite a lot?
Well, the game keeps running indefinitely, so we will put an NFT at a certain price point, and then or a certain score point, and then call that the end. And if you want to continue afterwards, then we can have a competition probably sometime in the future where we say, okay, the person who has the highest score within a month will get a gift from us as well, which can be an NFT from the character collection.
I see. And the buy and sell tax, how does that work for investors? I think there's 4% in reflections as well in the Fox Finance
Yes,
token.
yes. So we had 12%, where 6% was going to the community, and 6% was going to liquidity, and we changed that because we saw that a lot of the liquidity was already causing the issue of too high liquidity within our own locked tokens. So we changed the liquidity percentages, and we also wanted to have more reflections to you. We also had more. We wanted more reflections going to development. But James is actually the one that set everything up on this. So maybe he can say a word about that.
Great. And oh yeah, go ahead.
I just yeah, I guess yeah, Leslie was talking about, basically 4% to holders. This is going to be the 9% tax that we have for buys and sells. 4% to Fox Reflections to holders. 1% to our marketing wallet. 1% to our team and development wallet. 1% to our growth fund wallet. 1% to our charity wallet, and then 1% to liquidity. And one of the reasons we did that was because, as he mentioned, the first token was 6% to Reflections and 6% to liquidity. Basically a Safe Moon clone for all intents and purposes, and not very sustainable for the long term. If you're trying to get any kind of revenue out of that. Also, we felt that 12% was, probably blunting growth a little bit, right? So we decided that we were going to reduce that and have it go to more diverse areas. And also, one of the issues with our token is when it started to drop, well, it dropped hard, frankly. And what ended up happening was our liquidity backed a huge percentage of our market cap by the end. We started off with something like 5 BNB in liquidity in March of 2021. And then by the time we relaunched, we had somewhere around 2,500 BNB total. Most of which was locked, but not all of it. And so we were able to basically acquire somewhere around 1,500 BNB to start out, maybe a little bit less, and 250 BNB we set aside for liquidity to start off with, well, the same-ish market cap as we sort of locked V1 with. But we also wanted to lock liquidity for in a more like intervallic way. So instead of having it locked for 4 years where it can't be touched but isn't really doing anything direct to help the token, other than keep price very stable, we have 25% locked for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months. And so the goal being that after the first 6 months goes by, that we'll be able to check in with the community and give them ideas for what we think we would like to do with it, and also get their feedback to kind of make the best, the most optimal decision for everybody involved. Because, liquidity, like everything else, everybody gets scared and wants liquidity locked, and I get that, but liquidity, like everything else, is a tool. And so what you want to do is use that tool in the best way possible. It could come 6 months down the line and we can say, based on where we are, we think it's just good to lock it for another period of time, or to lock part of it for a period of time and spend the rest on buybacks or a charitable event or something along those lines.
Great. So did you airdrop the in the migration to the community, and so you've got a big community there already built up, ready for the V2, Fox Finance?
Well, what ended up happening was we actually decided to kind of basically wring out as much BNB as possible to make V2 a success, that we were going to have holders send us their V1 tokens. And so we have done, and that's indefinite. We're not going to close that anytime in the foreseeable future, because we know some people aren't, hyper focused on their investments all the time, which is, I'm happy for them if they can do that. But basically, we set up a DApp on our website so that they can swap the V1 to the V2, and it's been, say, about 95% have been able to do it with low or no issue, and the rest we've been sort of taking care of manually. But basically, once we get their V1 tokens, we send them basically 1/1,000,000th the same number of V2 tokens, and each token is worth essentially 1,000,000 times more than the value of the V1 token, because we've moved to a billion supply instead of a quadrillion supply. So, but yeah, everybody that has their tokens, they could wake up from a coma in 2 years and swap their tokens out for their V2 amounts, and that's totally fine.
Great. So it's great. You've got a community there, and you've got long-term holders, because the project's been going for 15 months nearly. So that's a great start to the migration now.
Here's to another 15 months, and then another 15 months. One of the things we're really trying to do is, we came into the market, again, this is before any of us were actually involved really whatsoever in this project, or certainly not in a heavy way. But basically, we started off with, well, frankly, a sort of a gift of a market, right? Like, I mean, the BSC in March and April of last year were just fantastic. We went from basically what equates to maybe 12.5 BNB of market cap to something like 180 million at our highest level, and that was all just based on sort of promises. Like, we hadn't actually delivered on any products at that point or anything along those lines, and so it was really in part just like a gift of the market and really just trying to you know and so once we dropped, of course, then it was very hard to kind of get back to that, and it led to all sorts of extra expectations. And so we're planning to build something very sustainable over the long term that we can sort of build product after product after product, make sure that it's top of the line. One of the things we have to do, as Leslie mentioned, is our NFT marketplace needs like a big overhaul. So we've already contracted people to do that, so it's fully functional. And so that people can use it kind of at will and put up their great artwork, or buy other people's great artwork, or buy our artwork that we commission from others.
Great. And have you had an audit on the smart contract for the Fox Finance?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Audit on the Fox Finance smart contract.
Oh, yes, we have. So we had a full tech rate audit done. I want to say within a week of the ownership being transferred to the core team, and I think in the end they settled on one low severity issue. That's just how SafeMoon contracts and SafeMoon-like contracts work, right? If you exclude too many people from reflections, then then you're going to run into an issue with gas fees, that kind of thing. But other than that, we got basically fully clear marks on the rest of it. And so we really like the contract. We used a guy called Mr. Green Crypto, and he was just fantastic to work with, and honestly built what I think is a really cool contract. So if anybody else here is a contract dork, they're welcome to sort of dig into it and ask questions to us, or just, why did you do this, or what have you? And we can either answer or get you the answer.
Okay, awesome. What's the marketing plans going forward now you've launched today? Just 30 minutes ago, I think it was, yeah.
I'll let Leslie handle that because he's the main marketing guy. Are you around?
Yeah, I'm around. So basically, we started some ads on KuCoin and Box Finance. Of course, our AMA with you guys was also on the list. We actually had this one planned before we got the banners up and running. And we will be looking into doing more AMAs, getting more our name out in more ways. But we also want to wait for the market to be in the right mindset for our marketing to really be in full force. Because we also know of projects that no matter what they did in marketing, it didn't actually cause the change that they wanted.
Okay, great. I can open it up to the rest of the team if anyone's got a question for the Fox Finance team here.
Yeah, hey Glenn, I was listening in, and I love what I'm hearing, because during the course of last year we've seen a lot of tokens that sort of want to go the route of building a strong community and passing over the token to the community and all these big dreams. But it seems that you guys not only have done it, but have done it successfully. So having a strong community like yourself and having members that kind of took matters into their own hands to push it forward, I think says a lot about what you guys are building, and it's lovely to see. And I'm curious also, now that you sort of have ownership of the whole ecosystem, how does the quote unquote new team handle it? Do you guys have like assigned roles for everybody? Do you get together with the community and talk? Do you have like internal meetings? And what would you say were kind of the driving factors that led to your success? Because everybody's trying to do this, to create a strong community, build engagement, to get people really involved. And well, what was the magic sauce for you guys?
It was really just, I guess, a part of it being luck, the right people getting together with the right way of thinking. We have weekly meetings. Every week we get together, we discuss the project that we're working on, the progress that's going on. We discuss ideas, we give feedback to each other. And I think that's the part that really made us stick out as a team. Like we all want the same thing. We all joined Fox Finance because we, of course, wanted to make money, but we also wanted to help the environment. We also wanted to see this project grow because the community was strong and is strong, and the community did help out with the different foxes in actions we set up. And yeah, like any business, when you start telling people that they shouldn't tell their ideas, then you're basically cutting off your own legs. And we don't do that. We build upon each other's ideas. When someone brings up an idea, even if at that time it might not be feasible, we will always keep it on the side and be like, okay, at some point it might come back and be like, hey, this might be the right time to do this. So, for instance, the game right now, like it was something we had been talking about since August, September maybe, but we were still working on the auction hall, and we still needed to get all the contract stuff done. And at that time, we weren't the main people that were dealing with this developer. Like James just said, we have a new developer now, Mr. Green Crypto, and he's really like explaining everything in detail to us. So not everybody in the team is a tech head. So it was really nice to have a conversation about what it is that the contract needs to be able to do, what functions are possible. All that information for us was kind of new because we weren't involved in the initial plans for the marketplace, and it gave us so many new ideas that we can implement with it, that it just opens the future to so many different things.
Yeah,
So open, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, so
I see what you're
go
saying,
ahead.
and I like that. You know, you guys are open and willing to learn and willing to push it even further. You know, because that's why I was asking. You know, maybe you have people in the community that are sort of proficient in some areas and others in other areas, right? And the fact that they are willing to back it with their own effort, not just you know, money investing into a chart, and they actually want to put in the time and the effort and really build something cool. I think that's something to be envied by a lot of people in the space, because we've seen it in the past with sort of the huge communities with the Shibas and Doges and stuff like this, where it was 100% driven by the community, right? So it looks like you guys are following in some really big steps, and I like that you have big goals as well. I was looking through the website, and I know like this is probably a lot further down the line, but you're looking at documentaries and school programs and a lot of interesting ideas. So as long as you guys have really cool goals and people engaged to deliver on that, I think it'll be super exciting for a lot of you know, regular investors.
Yeah. One more thing to add to that. One of the things that once we took over, one of the main points that we addressed was that we didn't have a stable source of revenue, and our partnership with Yomi came to be because of their knowledge about growth funds. So right now, like James said, we had access to quite a large chunk of the BNB, and because we wanted to have a smaller liquidity pool for the token so that there would be more volatility and more flexibility, meant that a lot of the BNB wasn't going to be used in the liquidity pool right away. So because of that, we wanted to use it in a way that it's gonna create revenue, which in turn makes it that we don't need to touch the principal amount, and we can keep the project growing, as it were. So yeah, right now we are going to start with the first liquidity pools that we can get revenue from, and that revenue is basically used to cover our expenses and do buybacks and do burns and keep us growing stably.
It sounds like a very good plan, and you guys seem to be going a very good route. So I like what I'm seeing. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you too.
I was just wondering, yeah, if you're still actually on the central exchanges Bitmark and Hotbit as well.
Yes, actually, on Hotbit we have a campaign running where if you buy $100 worth of Fox V2, sorry, did I say on Bitmart we have a campaign running where if you buy $100 worth of Fox V2, you will get 10% extra. Am I saying that right, James? Actually, I'll leave James to say this because he set up the numbers.
No problem. I actually, of course, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I could forward it. Basically, we have 4 different intervals between basically 100 USDT and 1,000 USDT, where if you purchase at least that amount, and Bitmart has a couple of stipulations and so forth. And I could actually, if you want to make me an admin, I could forward that link so people can review it as well. But basically, at different intervals, between 10 and 15%, and kind of like bonus Fox tokens based on launch price, basically. So we sent them basically $20,000 worth of Fox V2 tokens at launch price, and so we're hoping that pays off for people that want to buy in, that kind of thing, and I'm sure it's still going. It's a 2-week long thing, and first come first serve, that kind of thing. So we've honestly, Bitmart has been actually pretty easy to work with, I would say, in the last few weeks. Really kind of getting us all the info we need, especially because nobody on this team had really directly worked with any centralized exchanges, right? Like we came in later as any kind of official members, later than we were already launched on those items. Hotbit, we're probably going to be another 2 weeks out before they're live there. We haven't been able to get kind of a good estimated time frame from them, but we keep trying. And then we absolutely want to be on more centralized exchanges. We've kind of earmarked a good amount of our tokens, a good percentage of our supply specifically for future centralized exchange listings, that kind of thing. So with that in mind, we like that other person was saying, and we appreciate the kind words. We're working on, doing some big things. I'm one of those people who I'm a little more conservative on this stuff. So I go, well, one thing at a time, let's kind of do this. And then other people, sometimes rightfully push me along so that we can do a million things at once. And we've had a tumultuous, basically 3 weeks we've been in charge, and so it's been, absolutely riveting. A lot of the community is, excited about the changes, and we're also looking forward to more members of the community sort of coming out of the woodwork and going, oh man, things are happening, and becoming much more involved with us. Because like that other person was also saying, the community is everything. That makes everything work. It doesn't matter how much work you do on the back end, or I should say, you could do all the work in the world, and it's not going to matter if the community is not behind you. And so we're doing what we can to do our part, and we want to incentivize holders with various contests that are upcoming so that they can become more involved and be rewarded for their volunteer work for us and for charitable organizations. And we're really feeling very bullish about the long term for sure.
That's great that you're on Bitmart from day one. It's great for investors to have that facility and help with the volume as well straight from launch. So that's exciting. Let's move to investor questions. Syed, you had a question for the Fox Finance team. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Okay, so you will have a governance set in place in future. So I was thinking that will it be a hybrid DAO governance model where you will have council members and involve community voting process? How will your DAO work in the future?
Are you asking about governance, like how decision making is made?
Yes.
Okay, so as Leslie kind of alluded to, it's not a straight DAO or anything along those lines at this point. It's basically, representatives of the community in the form of this board, 5 people, that we're adding 2 more direct sort of like democratic members of the community. So they'll get sort of voted in on elections on our site, basically, so that people with more direct, because it's like we're community members, right? But then also as time progresses, you get more, just the natural order of organizations is if you're the ones making the decision making all the time, then you can become kind of out of the loop or out of touch. And so we wanted to have an extra bridge of two additional people to make decisions that we can vote on and that kind of thing, and also take essentially their opinions under advisement as direct community members, or directly voted from the community, that kind of thing. And so we'll be holding elections, that kind of, that sort of thing. So we're not going to have full votes on every little thing that we do, but any kind of big thing that we do, we're going to bring that up directly to the community as well.
Okay, understood. So I was going through your roadmap and in 2023, it's written about the development of the metaverse space for meeting, community events, classrooms, virtual vendors, and even DJ parties. So I was wondering that, will you be developing your own metaverse from scratch, or you will be buying lands in Sandbox or Decentraland? How will that work out?
I'll take this one, James. Actually, one of our core members has a partner that knows that is currently working on developing metaverse space. So we will be implementing that in time as time progresses. We haven't decided on which metaverse to join yet, and that's one of those things that we would discuss with the community. What would be the most desired, so to speak. Also, one of the things that I wanted to add to what James just explained is that we are developing a forum on our website, and the forum will also be used to do voting and have referendums, so that people can vote on specific issues that we want to develop.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So, and then as for the rest of the metaverse things, it's not that we are going to release all of that in 2023. From 2023, we want to start developing that. So, the documentaries, the classroom development, or the teaching on through the metaverse, those things will require time, will require huge partnerships. To get materials, components, and such. And hopefully by that time, our reputation will have preceded us that a lot of companies will be willing to work with us to develop our online presence in the metaverse.
Understood. Wonderful. So you were talking about this NFT that will come in future. So I was wondering that, will these NFTs will be 2D or they will be 3D for the game and utility NFTs?
It kind of depends on what the NFT is used for. We will have 2D NFTs for the achievements, for example, and there might be some 3D NFTs that will be ultra rare. For the game characters, they are already 3D NFTs because they need to be loaded into the game. So they currently are just the NFT is basically the game character. So once you have the NFT, the idea is that you connect with your wallet to the game, and that it will ask if it can read your wallet NFTs, and then it will say which characters you can choose from based on which NFTs you have. And the same goes for the utility NFTs. They don't need to be 3D because they are expendable NFTs that you lose upon using it. And our developer just recently said that would be ERC 1125 NFTs. If I'm not mistaken, please don't pin that down on me. It's just explained yesterday. So yeah, the development of the NFTs is going to include 2D and 3D NFTs.
Okay, and these will be on BSC or Ethereum?
On the BSC.
Okay. Final quick question. So you discussed about this game that is in development right now, and it's similar to Minecraft. I was wondering that on which game engine it will be developed.
That's a good question. It's an online game actually, so it's going to be available through our marketplace, through our website. And our tech guy, who isn't here at the moment, will be able to explain more about. But if you come to our channel and you ask about it, he will explain in detail all the information that you want about it. The goal with the game right now wasn't to make a game that is super great when it comes to graphics and that the gameplay is going to be amazingly complicated. No, we just wanted to actually explore the possibilities of NFTs with games and how we can make them work together and build out from there. So our goal is not to make this one game and expand only on this game. Of course, we do want to do that, but we also want to connect it to multiple games. So once we've completed this game and gotten all the NFT functions in it, we want to make a second game, but that second game is going to be using NFTs from the first game, and NFTs from the second game can be used in the first game. So our goal is to make it integrate with multiple games.
Understood. Thank you for the detailed answers. Thank you. Over to you, Glenn.
No problem. Thank you.
Let's move on to Aisha. Got a question for the Fox Finance team. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Okay, on your white paper, I have read about Fox in Action, which is a charity mission of Fox Finance. I was wondering that have you guys partnered up with any charity organizations to support your goal of helping endangered species and fight global warming? And how are these charity organizations selected? I mean, are these selected by the community voting?
One of the issues we've come across is that while we were on V1, we wanted to donate to several charity organizations. And well, one, they didn't accept crypto, so we would have to pay cash. And secondly, they were pretty wary of a crypto organization wanting to donate to them. So we found out that it's quite hard actually to find charity organizations to partner up with. We have donated to the WWF. Am I saying that right? Yeah, WWF, and basically purchased their charity packs. And we will be reaching out to more charity organizations again to support them in their growth and their activities, so that wild animals especially get a chance to be helped around the world. They are selected based on which ones we know and where we know that the money is going to the right place. So right now right now we're focusing on the migration, but soon we'll be starting to look into charity organizations again and reaching out to them with more solid offers and opportunities, and also making more donations. Because as I mentioned earlier, since we're in Mongolia, it's a little easier now to make connections and make payments through fiat.
Understood. Okay, I was wondering that, I mean, have you thought of setting up any donation section on your website or on any third-party fundraising platforms which can enable people outside crypto space to make donations in fiat to your charity cause?
Actually, that's a good idea. One of the original plans was to make a donation pipeline, but it ended up being too complex. So we will be looking into. We do have a donation wallet right now where 1% of the reflections is going to. People can always donate there, but I like the idea of connecting with a website where people can also make donations outside of the crypto space. Thank you for giving us that idea.
Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Yes. And that is how we usually work. Like someone comes up with an idea, and if we like it, we will also say it like, hey, that's a good idea. And, we'll try to make it work and do something with it.
That's great. Let's move to Venice. You have a question for the Fox Finance team. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Glenn. Actually, I want to know about the education program as well as the development like it was mentioned on the roadmap. So, do you have any plans to give scholarship to the researchers who are interested, and also taking proposals from the community who provides the solution to certain problems that can hurt animals or mitigate the effects of issues related to climate or pollution?
3 out of 5 of us work for schools or colleges, I think, at this point. And I don't think it even crossed my mind that doing a scholarship down the line is, frankly, an obvious and an incredible idea. So I now really want to do that.
And there's another good idea added to our plans. Well, for the education, what we were planning, and it was a really basic idea. Like once the dude and I, because we're both in education, we started just brainstorming ideas, and we came across like, well, we're doing Foxden Radio, and how cool would it be if we use the metaverse and develop the metaverse and then we would end up teaching kids through the metaverse because it would allow us more real world examples to those kids, which will allow them to learn better. And then, of course, we were still working with Foxden Radio, and I was like, well, if we're going to Asia, Africa, South America, it would only make sense that we take with us a camera crew and start making some videos about nature there, done by ourselves, and to make a documentary out of it that people can see what is going on in different countries. And even though some of those countries are stricken with poverty, or there's a very big divide between the rich and poor, that the nature around it is still very pristine and beautiful, and that the animals living there still need to be taken care of and need to be known about. So that's how that came to be. But we're really still a long way from being able to do that, because it will involve a lot of costs which we currently can't carry.
Yeah, that's really a great idea. And can you please tell us that you talked about the documentaries? Will these documentaries also for TV channels, and in what languages will these documentaries will be? Will it be multilingual or just in English?
Well, we use English as the main language, so but we can always get them translated or subtitled, so that isn't a big issue. I myself also used to own a translation company, so I have known about that. I have also dabbled with subtitling documents. Subtitling videos. So those are all things that we can add at a later time. The idea is to offer them to TV channels, because that will be another source of revenue, and we can use that revenue to support those local wildlife or local areas that we have taken videos from, to develop it, to protect it, and to start programs if necessary.
Okay, and one last question from my side. And I was wondering what qualities you will look for the candidate who is willing to participate in the voting for becoming the community representative.
Well, the way we've worked up till now is like we were selected based on the ideas we put in. So when we had the Fox Den, there were lots of people in it, but very few people spoke. And that made the people that actually spoke up more stand out more. So what we're looking for is someone that is open-minded, that is able to accept that their idea might not be the best idea, but that can also accept or can also explain why they think something is not a good idea, or why something is a better idea. So the pros and cons of an idea. The skills behind it are always nice if people have digital skills, so graphic design, programming, coding, all those kinds of things we love to have on the team. So yeah, the important thing is that the chemistry between the teams stays the same. So not someone that gets easily offended when you say that their plan isn't that good idea because of, and then they say, yeah, you just shoot down all our plans. Yeah, maybe we have to shoot down all your plans, but then come up with plans that you can defend.
Okay, that's really great. You guys are really doing something for the community and also for animals. I really love your project, and God bless you. And thank you so much for answering my questions as well.
Thank you.
Okay, Oyek, you had a question for the Fox Finance team. Go ahead. Are you there, Aid Foyek? No. Let's move on to Kanushka. Kanushka, you had a question for Fox Finance. Go ahead. No, people got their hands up here, and goodness, Giammarco, you had a question for Fox Finance. Go ahead.
Hello. Hi, Glenn.
Hello.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity. So my question is, I was going through your website and I saw that this project is mainly for uh is more like a charity project, mainly for animals that are going into extinction. So my question is the community, like the community you're building, will they be able to vote on which charity organizations they will donate funds to? And how transparent will this process be?
Yeah, so earlier we already mentioned like selecting charities is kind of tricky because they're not always very open to crypto organizations. Basically, anyone that comes up with a good project, we will of course do the research behind the charity organization, and if we like what we see, we will donate to them or we will make a plan on how we can work with them. Last year we had an example. Someone brought up a zoo somewhere in South America, and the animals didn't have enough to eat. And they asked if we wanted to donate. But we also have to look at it like if you have a zoo and you don't have enough food to feed the animals, then us donating is going to be a drop in a bucket. It's not the main issue is not being handled. So we decided to not go along with it because it would be something that would be a recurring donation to a problem that is not being solved. Um, Other than that, like when people say, yeah, there's this charity organization, they're doing this and that, and they need more helpers, then we can say like, okay, yeah, we can support them by setting up a Fox in Action so that people who volunteer there get a reward from us in the form of an NFT or in the form of tokens. Maybe we can donate tokens to them that they can use at their discretion to pay people from. So there are lots of ways to deal with the situation, and of course we will first discuss it with the core team to see if it has merit, and then we will go with the community and discuss the idea, and if it needs to be voted on, then we will discuss it. But sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. It's a good project, and we don't necessarily need to vote on every single charity. If there are like two charity organizations being suggested in a month, then I don't think we really, if it's like two times $1,000 or two times $5,000, we don't really need to vote on it if we're certain that the money is going to a good place. If we're getting 200, 300 charity organizations, then yes, we're going to have to make decisions and we'll ask the community to vote with us.
All right. Thank you so much, Vieira.
No problem.
Yeah.
All right, Ramos, you had a question for the Fox Finance team. Go ahead. Yes.
What?
I can't. I don't think we can hear you there. Let's see. Osman, you had a question for the Fox Finance team. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Thank you very much, and to the team from Fox Finance. Thank you for your detailed explanation so far. I just want you to touch on a little bit on the gaming part of the project, because I heard you said you're going to introduce gaming and all that. So I don't know. You didn't throw more light on the type of game we're looking at. Is it going to be like a P2P game, or a multiplayer game, or a multi-level game? You understand? And also the earlier on you mentioned staking, and so I want to know, you never mentioned like, okay, this is not really necessary, but just for the purpose of record, maybe percentage return, the APY. You didn't mention anything about that. So those are those the two aspects I want you to mention, to touch on. Thank you.
Yeah. For the gaming part, right now we're starting with a single player game that is basically in a Minecraft graphic style, where you cross a street. So and the thing about it, it is play to earn, and you earn NFTs, and you can also buy NFTs, and you can later on buy NFTs to use with the NFTs that you earn in the game, so that you can advance further in the game. Later on, we're going to add new games, and we have some ideas for new games, and we will also be asking the community about what they think would be a nice game for us to develop, or what type of game for us to develop. And we even have our own original ideas for games, but that's just going to cost too much right now to develop. So hopefully that has answered your game question, Mr. Bosman.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just the
Okay.
second one.
Yeah. So on to the staking. We're starting right now with a $5,000 staking pool with Yummy, and the APY depends on how many people are in that pool. The pool will run for 60 days, and every block, which is every 3 seconds, I believe, the staking fees are distributed over all the people holding it. So let's say one block, you can get $100 worth of Fox tokens. Then if there are 10 people there, then everybody gets $10 worth of Fox tokens. If there are 1,000 people there, then you get 10 cents of Fox tokens. So it really depends on how many people are staking at that time. But we can be open and clear about the amount of money we're putting in the staking pool for the amount of time we're putting it in, which is $5,000 for 60 days.
Right. Thank you very much. Over to you, Glenn. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you for the questions. We've unfortunately run out of time, but it's been great speaking to Viora
Yes.
today at Fox Finance. We always say at the end of the AMA, our AMAs are for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Do your own research, check out the website white paper, the community, and make your decision on that. If you do want to invest in Fox Finance, I've just posted into the main chat, there is a bonus of 10 to 15% of the Fox tokens if you purchase them on Bitmark. So it's great that Fox Finance is on the central exchange straight away on launch. It's not very often we get that for investors. That's very nice. Thank you very much for coming, guys. It's been great speaking to you today.
Thank you very much.
2 prize winners also for the questions, so that will come out later. So stay tuned in the main chat for that. We'll post that later on. And thank you for Viora and James for coming today. And good luck in the future.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for having us. And if anyone still has any questions left, by all means, drop in onto our channel and ask the questions, and we'll always try to answer them right as fast as possible.